Gaza. Let's speak now to Issam Akamwalmi from BBC Arabic, who joins us. Issam, it is good to see you as we reflect on these big numbers now that we are hearing of Palestinians killed in Gaza, and we've seen the ferocity of the airstrikes on some live pictures that we've been bringing our viewers to. Can you give us an idea of what it's like in Gaza, that if you're a civilian there, rockets are coming over, is there anywhere to try to go to seek some kind of safety?
As you know, Lucy, Gaza is the most probably dense center on earth. We've got about 41 kilometers long, and we've got 2.5 million people living in that very small space. So it's overcrowded. So wherever you go, there are people. So anything happens, it's bound to, harm ordinary civilians, ordinary people. I've been hearing reports, and I've been in touch with some people there, and it's pretty grim. People are embracing themselves for the worst. Even one of my friends there told me that they've been saying goodbye to their members of their families and their friends, because no one knows when this is going to end and who's going to survive and who's going to be harmed. So it's pretty grim at the moment, and as Gideon Levy was saying earlier, it is expected to escalate in the coming hours and days, because the scale of this operation has been surprising.
So if it continues, Issam, with 161 killed now, 1,000 people injured, what about the infrastructure in Gaza, particularly the medical facilities? I mean, they'll be overwhelmed.
Absolutely. I mean, the medical facilities in Gaza is really limited at the best of times. So in a situation like this, when you have a high number of casualties, people injured, people, all sorts of traumas happening. So the medical establishment will be at enormous pressure to cope with the number of injured and those who need medical attention.
Issam, in no way are we seeking to justify, but only to explain what is happening, because there are so many questions about why Hamas would take this action today, knowing that the retaliatory effect would be so big from Israel, that they would respond in this way. What are Hamas leaders saying about why they've done this?
Well, Hamas leadership is saying that enough is enough. The Gaza Strip has been under siege, under blockade for the since 2006, 2007. The international community has been paying lip service. The human conditions in the Gaza Strip is very, very harsh. People can hardly leave. All sorts of commodities are missing. Also, there are like regular Israeli bombing to certain targets in the Gaza Strip, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel for the people of Gaza. Also, they link that with for instance, increasing violence by Israeli settlers in the West Bank, attacking Palestinian villages and setting fire to olive fields and so forth, and also the increasing number of Israeli incursions into the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. Especially now we have during the Jewish holidays, an increasing number of religious Jewish people have been going into the mosque under the protection of the Israeli army, and they call that provocation. And it's very upsetting, and it's very there is like a Palestinian consensus that the mosque is under threat at the moment. The Israelis are trying to change the status quo by making it accessible to Jews, let them go and pray there. We've seen in the past few days that a number of people have been trying to perform rituals on the compound. So all these things have to be fed into this latest escalation on the border with Gaza.
And who else, what other groups are supporting Hamas at the moment? And how complicated is that in Gaza and also, I guess, in the West Bank?
Well, I mean, all the factions are at the moment united, as they say, together. against the Israeli, what they call Israeli aggression. Even the president of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, said this morning that the Palestinians have the right to defend themselves against persistent attacks by settlers and the Israeli army. So it is pretty volatile at the moment. So if this continues for a few more days, I think to see probably escalation in the West Bank or other places. So only time will tell, Lucy.
Yeah, when you talk about the people you're speaking to saying they're actually saying goodbye to their loved ones, they're concerned that they may not make it through today, and this now, as we see, as I'm talking to you, are actually watching attacks on Gaza taking place. They're not live, actually, they came in earlier, but it gives you a sense of the scale of the action that we're seeing at the moment. When you also speak to people in Gaza, how many of them actually support Hamas? Is it possible to say?
Well, it's really when something like this happens, I think who you support has become like a side issue. When people are or feel threatened or they're under attack, they tend to close ranks and help each other. So this thing about who's responsible and who supports who becomes really a side issue. Not many people are talking about it. I don't think you will hear many Palestinians now in the Gaza Strip blaming Hamas because, as I said, when they are under attack, they tend to blame the side who's attacking them rather than who started what.
And what are your thoughts on whether Hezbollah could be pulled into this as well? That's been a real concern that we've heard from people we've been speaking to in Israel today.
Well, I mean, people talk about it. Is it possible? Personally, I think it's unlikely that Hezbollah will be drawn into this because they've got enough issues in Lebanon themselves at the moment. Lebanon, as you know, without a president, there's an interim government. There are all sorts of divisions within Lebanon. So I don't think at this stage Hezbollah is really contemplating opening a front against Israel from the north.
It's been very valuable to get your thoughts, Issam. Thank you very much for joining us. And let's just bring you the latest statement.